Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brokers Open Podcast. I'm Dr. Ben Spears, the doctor of
I'm gonna cut you off, Ben. I'm excited. Tim's here, man. We got to hurry up and get to. I'm sorry. All right, I'll quit. All right, Ben. Go, Dr. Ben. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Shouldn't have done that. You're not going to edit that out, are you?
Wherever you're listening, make sure that follow and subscribe button if you aren't scared away already. We have an amazing guest, of course, a repeat guest, Matt.
Yep, absolutely.
And this is Matt by the way. I didn't get to that point. But we have a repeat guest who has so much information in his brain that we decided to bring him back for more. Tim Garrity. He's the broker partner of Copper Hill Real Estate. Tim, how you doing, man?
Benny, Maddie, let's do it. I'm great, man. How you guys?
Doing fantastic. So we had to get you back in here. Market. A lot of people are feeling the market shift, and I know you do a great job of staying ahead of that, and you help your agents out a lot with that. So we wanted to pull you back in. You keep trying to get away, and we keep pulling you back in, get you back into this so that we could talk a little bit about it to help everybody out. So
great, excellent.
Yeah. Really quick. Tell us a little bit. Tell our listeners, right, agents who are listening. Tell them a little bit about yourself and Copper Hill and what you guys are all about.
Sure thing. Yeah. So this is my second time on, as they mentioned before. So some of my background, I grew up in suburban Philadelphia, lived in the city of Philadelphia for about 2 decades, recently moved out to the suburbs about 2 years ago. And, grown up in this area my whole life, one of 4 kids, and just, going to school here, being connected to friends and family, and just absolutely loving and embracing the area. I started working at a young age, started with selling newspapers to, putting up beach equipment at the beach, the South Jersey Shore, to working in restaurants, to, marketing internships at the Jersey Shore, being a beer promo guy. That's one I never told you guys about before. And it's all kind of led up to this point in my life. I'm 44 years old. I've been in real estate now for close to 14 years, mortgages for about 8 before then. And it's like everything I did growing up from 8 years old to now has really just been about people and business building and customer service and relationships. And that's what real estate is all about. So that's my background.
Love it. That's so good. So, I want to pull something else out of that conversation because we've had the chance to talk a couple of times and everything. Absolutely. It's always been about people, but you've been in service to people like your entire life. So it's not just about working with them. You've always been in and around things that are about you helping other people, whether it's, helping them buy a house through the mortgage business or whether it's helping them get their umbrella in the sand. You've always been there kind of helping people out. Right. So we know you're driven. We know you're driven for that. Of all of those jobs, tell us the truth. You like real estate the best or not?
I like real estate the best. I mean, hands down, it is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. I mean, being an agent, as most of your agent listeners know, it's extremely difficult. 87% of agents are going to fail in 5 years or less. So when you think about that statistic, you're looking at it as like, you know what, like my odds of success are low. But I also like to, go back to the point, like you said, in the service business is really just taking care of people. Yep. That's all real estate is. And a lot of people, I feel like they lose focus. They're like, I got to talk to people I don't know. I got to write a lot of cold business. I have to do a lot of this and a lot of that with people I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I just took the opposite approach because in those businesses that I did, selling the papers, I didn't know those folks, or setting up their umbrella in 95-degree humidity around here. I didn't know those guys. But getting into mortgages and getting into real estate, you get to know people. You get to know their personal information. You get to know about their families, about their income, about their credit. Like the most personal information you can learn about someone is through real estate and mortgages. And I take that very seriously. And I look at that as like, I'm like the steward and guardian of your personal business. And I know what you're looking to accomplish. So if I know all that, my goal is to give the best customer service I can give. And I never look at the deal. I look at the relationship. And it's always just worked for me. You take care of people, they take care of you. And it's just a reciprocal business that I've learned. And that's what allowed me to start a brokerage. And now I have almost 40 agents, and it's fantastic. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And you got 40 agents that are in there making it happen too, right? So it's not like you got a couple of people that are doing the business. You're in there helping them out, which is crucial. That's part of the reason why we wanted you to come back in and talk to us, because we know your per person productivity is really good. We know you do a great job helping agents out, because you dig specifically into what they need to accomplish in their business in order for their business to go to that next level. Okay. And with the market shifting, we want to talk a little bit about that. We want to dig right into it, if that's okay. So personal brand. You talk a lot about personal brand with your agents, and you've been on a bunch of different podcasts that are great podcasts. You've been featured a lot of places. You get the chance to speak to a lot of people. We love that. Tell us about how personal brand, when you're talking to people, tell us about how important that is going forward into a market that's shifting and changing the way that this one is.
Absolutely. So I got two things I want to talk about with personal brand specifically. Let's look at the last few years when a lot of people just got into this business and started writing orders. They were basically order takers, and the teams were busy. The brokerages were busy. The market was exploding. So as long as you had a license and as long as you knew some people and were capable of helping people get through the process, you were getting paid, and you were getting paid well. Now business is down 30%, 40%, 60% in some US markets, which is insane. So a lot of people are like, I need to get out. I need to go get a job. And I don't think that way, because I always look at this is a marathon, not a sprint. And if it's a marathon, it's not about taking orders. It's about you standing out, providing value for your personality, the way you want it to kind of come across, your authenticity. Like, you do well in real estate by being yourself, and you can't be all things to all people. But if you're the right things to the right people, they will come work with you, and they will give your name out to everyone they know, and you will build a referral-based business. So my two examples are, the first one I did was really when I got into the business. And again, I'm Tim Garrity, realtor, just like Joe Smith, just like Sally Jones.
Yep.
So why am I different? And I started blogging. That was one of my biggest differences. And that was a way for me to gain credibility for being new. It was also a way for me to differentiate myself, because I think when I first started, and the brand I created for myself as an agent was called Philly Urban Living. There was only about 10 or less agents in all of Philadelphia, believe it or not, that had their own online brands that I could find. So I'm like, I'm in a city of 1.5 million people. The average age of a real estate agent is like 55. And, when I got in, I'm 30. So it's like, okay, so I got to look at this differently. And the blogging, creating a logo with Philly Urban Living, doing all that successfully, just having a website, having business cards, always having that in my email signature, on flyers, on buyer material, seller material, alongside my broker's brand. We co-marketed. So that was example number one. That was really how I differentiated with my brand. And then I had to go through it again when I started a brokerage, Copper Hill Real Estate. So 5 years in, got a broker's license, and did about another year or so with my current broker, and got to kind of see it through his eyes, because he had a team of about 25, and it was the right time. I was ready. Again, my brother, Ryan Garrity, my friend, Andrew Janos, all three of us were ready to go. So we had to start Copper Hill from scratch. And it wasn't about us as agents anymore. It wasn't about our personal brands, whether you're Tim Garrity or Philly Urban Living. It was about Copper Hill. So who is Copper Hill, and why would I work with them over someone from Keller Williams or Compass or Coldwell Banker or EXP or all these big names? Those are big companies, multi-billion-dollar organizations. And I always looked at them like, it's not about the brand. Really, it's about the agent. But we resonated through our brand. Right. And creating Copper Hill was really just a culmination of our three personalities. And we had to do it from scratch. We got laughed at. I mean, we go to networking events with people who are 20 years older than us and doing it with the same brokerage for like 15 years. And they're like, you're out of your minds. And everyone said we couldn't do it. And here we are today. So again, I never chose the traditional path, because, if 1 out of 10 are going to survive after 5 years, you got to think outside the box. You got to think, okay, how do I do this differently? And if most people are doing it the same, they're probably just going to get out.
Yep. They're not going to stand out. Right. And so you hit on a big part of that. Big part of that is consistency, right? Being able to stay consistent in what that was, determining what it was, first of all, and then staying consistent with that. So you mentioned something else that I know is really important to you, because again, we've had the chance to talk. You're really big about investment. Okay. And when I say investment, you invest a lot into your agents. You do a lot to help them grow their business, but you also just got done talking about investing in your brand, truly being vested and investing in your brand, right? So where else? And so I want to say something else that and we can talk about this a little bit if you want, but I got to point this out because you mentioned the blog. You were able to create a hell of a following with your blog, and then you started sending a newsletter out, and you generate a lot of business from that newsletter that began the people you were meeting with the blog, right?
Right.
And so now you kind of help your agents with that same mindset, even if it's not that same tactic, with that same mindset. And that really is all about them learning to invest in what they're doing. So what are you coaching your agents to invest in now? Where should they be spending their time? Brand is part of it. Tell us a little bit more about what they should be doing if they want to stay healthy and take the opportunity that's coming in this next market.
Yeah. So if we're going to talk about the brand specifically, I look at that two ways. I'm a simple guy. I always have different ways to look at things to find the right fit for different people. But you could cast a wide net. Again, when I started Philly Urban Living, very wide net, the entire city of Philadelphia. People are like, wow, that you're covering a lot of distance. But I got 10 people I'm competing against that I can see online. So it was okay to go wide. If you've been doing this for a few years, maybe you've been doing it 5 or 10 years, you're a $5 or $10 million producer, you make plenty of money, you love what you're doing, it's a referral based business. I kind of recommend you go deep. I recommend you go more hyper local. So you're thinking more like what neighborhood or neighborhoods do I work in? What town or towns do I work in? Or am I a first time home buyer expert? Like, is half of my business first time home buyers? For whatever reason, that's what you attract. Or am I like a development, guy or girl? Like what's my niche? And it's like, there's riches and niches. So try and look at it as the first thing I really want people to do is what I call discovery. So when you're trying to come up with your personal brand and you want to learn where to invest, as you put it, think about who you are and what direction you want to go. If it's Tim Garrity Realtor, you could go in 500 different directions, spend a lot of money and get zero ROI. And, I ask people, what's your budget? What are you willing to spend on your brand? Is it all sweat, or are you willing to spend some debt? And if you're willing to do debt and or a combination of sweat, it's like, that's the best of both worlds. Like, you're going to have to put a little bit of thought, time, and money into doing this right. Because again, you can build it for free on social media, but you don't have a storefront. Maybe you don't have a website. And it just doesn't, everyone's on social media. So it gets noisy. Try and think of a way where you can guide people back to somewhere where it's unique to you, where you have your USP. They know who you are. They know who you service. They know where you do your business. They know, about your personal life, your family, your friends. Like, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be authentic, because being all things to all people will get you nowhere. If you are everything that a certain segment of the market is looking for, you'll gain that business all day. And as soon as they come to you, they're going to be like, you're my guy. Like, I'm not looking anywhere else. Here's a great example with the market being slower. I've gotten a couple of random people interviewing 5 or 10 listing agents. And I still practice as an agent very minimally, but I do it to stay healthy, to stay involved in the market. I'm in the trenches with my soldiers. So that's how I look at practicing. It doesn't matter for the company, but it helps keep things healthy for me and for them. And I went out to this listing appointment, and she's like, okay, you're the 7th person that I'm interviewing for this property. And tell me what you're going to do. And my first question to her was, why are you interviewing 7 different people? And she's like, that's a really good question. I just want someone to tell me what they're going to do. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Is it money? Is it you want privacy? Like, do you want this done fast? Like, do you have to leave next week? Like, so I looked at it. I even asked all the right questions. I didn't get it. And the reason I didn't get it is because I was going up against 6 other people to talk about it. And after I did that, I was just like, why do I even do that anymore? Because I know when it comes through my network, it's always the right fit, because we're already matched up for whatever reason. And then when I sit down with them, there's trust. And when the trust is there, I don't need to overlist the property. I don't need to oversell myself. I don't need to make empty promises. Not that I would for anyone, but people do. And they're just like, I'll overprice this thing, by 10% just to get my sign on the ground, and I'll figure it out later. If she starts, getting mad at me, then I'll adjust it then. And I just don't look at it that way.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you bring up a couple of my favorite words, like social and media. And and so I want to ask, right? Because, we definitely talk to a lot of agents, and then a lot of agents will ask us, in our masterminds and that kind of thing, where should I start? You obviously have a great presence online. You were thinking out of the box, from the get. I'm thinking about this from our listener standpoint. Maybe it's people who aren't even in Philadelphia who can't just come to you and be like, okay, guide me, Yoda. And where would you tell them to start?
Honestly, the first thing I always tell people, and this is one thing we do unique at our brokerage for our agents, but if you work at somewhere else, you probably got to do this yourself, is really you have in your network that you really truly believe they already know you and they already like you. I'm not talking to the people that you just met randomly, you barely know. I'm talking to people who really know you. You have a relationship with them in some way, shape, or form. So with Copper Hill, what we do is we have a monthly newsletter. It's one of our biggest success stories. We've been doing it nonstop every month. We've never missed a month since we've started. And it keeps you top of mind with everyone in your network, and it's valuable content. So they're getting something out of it. So if it's someone working for me, I'm like, the first thing you do before you do anything, before you consider postcards and all this other stuff, is really get your contacts organized. That's the foundation. Text, you're gonna have to do it individually. Text them all individually. Just steal your email address, or I don't have one for you. You'll get them. They'll all respond to your text messages like that, because text messages from people we know and like will get answered within 5 minutes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So you get everyone's info, then you have to communicate with them. I think the email newsletter is the best ROI because it's cheap. I mean, you go to MailChimp, you could probably get it for free. If it's, I don't even know what the threshold is now. Let's say it's less than 500 people or 1,000 people, it's probably free. So if you got to do it on your own, you're just going to have to do a little bit more work. But I'd be like, that is number one. That is working while you sleep. They may open that email 20 times for whatever reason. They loved your article. They go down rabbit holes. They want to look at the listings again. They want to read your story again. They're just interested. They're interested in you and what you got going on. So put those bookmarks out there for them to just have. They could search in their inbox very easily. They could look at one from 5 years ago and be like, where were they then? Where are they now? I mean, it's evergreen, personalized content. So it's like, if you're with me, we're going to do it for you because we do the newsletter for everyone and we just have their contacts. It relates to everyone. But if you're on your own and you're doing it somewhere, whether it's a team or a solo agent, I think MailChimp is fantastic. It's a great way to go.
Yeah, completely agree. And that is a heck of a place to start. Completely agree. Get your contacts together first, right? We tell people this all the time. If you want to double your income, the first thing that you do is use 60% of the capacity of your CRM. That means you've got to have your contacts together. It's got to be complete. Like you said, reach out to them. Such good advice. So you reach out to them, you connect, you talk, you start the conversation and everything. And then things start to turn into conversations that are more personalized, right? Now, I know you're really big on networking, right? You focus a lot on helping your agents understand how to truly network with people. Do you want to dig into that a little bit and tell us how you help out with that and why that's so important going forward?
Yeah, networking, I've always, it's just been natural for me. I just love people. Not everyone loves people in this business. They just don't. They love numbers, or they love business. They love money. They just love being an entrepreneur. Not everyone loves the people part of real estate, but I truly do. So how I look at it, to try and give you a sense of, my approach, is in-person networking is one of the most valuable things you could do, but you have to do it with the right people. Mm-hmm. So if you're just meeting with random people all the time, you might be spinning your wheels. If you're meeting with the people you already have in your network, let's say that, okay, let me give an example. Being here my whole life, I know a lot of people who are in different professions, insurance, financial planning, attorneys, accountants. So with those people, those are fantastic meetings for me because their networks have a lot of trust with them. Those are high-powered, high-trust industries, and they're already my friends, or they're already my business contacts. So it's like 4 meetings. It's an hour sitting down. Don't even do lunch. Just have coffee. Like, and doing it outside of business hours sometimes is tough. If people have kids or, that's just their time to unwind. Like, think about it, coffee at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. any day of the week with 4 people or 6 people, whatever it is. And just, you start the meeting, you're like, what can I do for you? You're in financial planning. What are you looking for? Like, who can I introduce you to? And it might not even be customers, like, or clients. Try not to think of it that way. This isn't about giving someone a lead and being like, oh, hopefully they need financial planning. No, it's like, who in my network could I connect with you? And that I know it would be a tremendous amount of value for both of you if I do that. So being a good connector with the most important people in your network, that's where I would start, like, day one. But let's say you're not me and you're like, I don't have those relationships, or I'm not from this area and I'm just getting started. What the hell am I supposed to do? Right. A lot of people go for these mortgage events, real estate events, which, again, you could go, you can shake hands, you can meet a few people, you can learn, maybe you make a good connection. But I almost look at it as like, some of the things that you can look into that aren't like that are social things. Like, let's say you like to run and you just join a running group and you go out and you're there to run anyway. You're there to run and get in shape and have fun. And then afterwards, you all ran 5 miles. And what are you going to do? You're going to go drink a beer or something or get lunch. And then you're going to naturally build relationships with people who have nothing to do with real estate. They're just going to ask what you do. You tell them what you do. They're like, oh, awesome. If I ever need something, I'll let you know. And you're kind of on that friendship tip. So things like that. It's, it could be running. It could be, it could be going to concerts. It could be anything. Absolutely. Like, whatever. It could be community service. I did a lot of that too. But you're just connecting with people. It really has to be that natural connection. It's not about quantity, even if you don't know them. It's about quality. Getting to know each other, like, looking into their eyes and just saying, look, I'm serious about what I do, and I'll take care of you or anyone else because of that. So as long as you trust me to at least attempt to help one of your friends, family, coworkers, neighbors with their real estate needs, I'm going to deliver, because I wouldn't be here if I didn't think I could. So if you're looking at it that way and you don't have those connections that I said before, anyone can do that. Anyone can find things to do in and around their neighborhood, in and around their town, and just go meet people.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Your network and your sphere of influence, more so now with the market that we're in, is so much more important than it ever was. Right. We've come through, different markets where, gosh, it was just easy to get into real estate. Yeah. It was, it's always somewhat easy to get into real estate. Easy to succeed in real estate.
Tough to stay in it.
That's
Sure. We all know that.
Yep.
But now it's just not flowing like that, like it used to. And so I would just tell our listeners out there, as much as we're talking about, you reaching out and being a valuable source to your vendor partners, to your sphere of influence, to your past clients, that kind of thing, I can assure you, whether they're doing it or not, they appreciate it, because they need that as well.
Yep.
Right. The real estate market touches like all businesses. Everything. Basically. Yeah. And so, they need that as well. And if you're the one that's instigating that network and that engagement, man, it's gonna put you at the center of that sphere of influence. Matt, do you have any more questions for Tim before
No, we could talk to him all day.
Yeah, for sure. I want to.
I can talk to you guys as well. I love these.
No, of course, we'll have you back on for a part 3, but I want to be respectful of your time. Tell us, how would agents or anyone in your market or listening to the podcast reach out and connect you, whether they want to learn more about Copper Hill or just want to be connected to a really cool guy?
Sure. I think 2 really easy ways that I think are effective. One would be social media. I love Instagram. So my personal Instagram is Real Estate in PHL, like Philadelphia, is Copper Hill RE as in real estate. Those are the 2 handles on Instagram. I feel like DMs are a great way to connect with people, following people, liking things, commenting. So that's a great way to reach out. Or if you just want to learn more about our brokerage, meet people on our team, reach out to me. My cell phone and email are on there. It's copperhillre.com. And that's got everything about us.
I love that, guys. You guys know the routine. I'll put everything that he said down in the description below, just to make it easy for you to click and connect. Well, Tim, we appreciate you so much coming on, as always. It's just a blast. And Matt, I appreciate you being here too, man.
Well, thanks, Ben. Yeah, glad you invited me.
Yeah, next Thanksgiving. I'll see you next Thanksgiving. Hey guys, wherever you listen to this, whether it be iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, or any of those platforms, make sure you hit that follow button. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that red subscribe button, that bell right beside of it, get notified every time we drop a new episode. There's no better time than the present than to go to Brokers Open Podcast and listen to some of our other episodes, especially go back and listen to Tim's first episode. It was absolutely a banger, as we say in the industry.
Is that
That's what we say in the industry.
I like it.
We bring on amazing guests just like Tim, because Brokers Open Podcast is not just about open houses.
It's about open minds. Thanks a lot, Tim. We sincerely appreciate it.
Take care, guys. Thank you.